What's up, YouTube? For today's video, with a full PSEUDO type Pokemon team. Ryan Lucas, this one is for you for Patreon. Alright, so this team is basically about Paldean Pokemon, or Pokemon that we didn't have in Sword and Shield, that could possibly be another type. So there were quite a few suggestions for this. So for example, Seviper being a poison type and a dark type too. Obviously, there's a fair bit of speculation and opinion with this sort of team. So if there's a Pokemon you think there could be another type, let me know about in the comment section of the video, and let's get into it. My first opponent here, we got quite a few Pokeportal battles in today's video. We got 4 battles. So my first Pokemon here is going to be Donphan. So we got Donphan as a ground and a steel type. When you have a look at Donphan, in my opinion, it does look like it definitely could be a steel type Pokemon. And I also gave out Iron Head too, so I tried to give the Pokemon a move that's the same type too. So we got Iron Head, Trailblaze, Rock Slide, and Fissure, and I've got the Terra type Steel, and we've got the item as Muscle Band as well. The ability is going to be sturdy. So Charizard went for a Dragon Breath, and then I got rid of that, and then in comes a special Meowscarada, and it finished me off with a Leaf Storm. So I'm like, well, I don't even know what's going on right now. Next Pokemon is going to be Seviper. We've got Seviper, of course, as Poison and Dark. But if there's a Pokemon out there that you believe should be a different type, let me know about it in the comment section of the video. Also, tonight was a double upload night, so I did do a Zorua evolution team with all of them. It was really cool. Make sure you do check it out there. So trying to give you that double content for tonight. Alright, so we got Meowscarada swapping out there, which is pretty interesting. I got the sub up with this Seviper. Now, this is a pretty cool strategy. I had this one as a Salic Berry Belch combination, so I'd go for the Subdued, get down and consume a berry, in this case a Salic, and then I'm going to be going for Belch. Now, Belch is 120 base power, and for some reason, I've always found this really weird that Belch is not 100 base power, considering, you know, how difficult it is actually to get this move to work on most Pokemon. I've got Dark Pulse, Switcheroo, and I've got Substitute. So Switcheroo is just there, say you've consumed your item and think, oh, I've seen a really good item that my opponent has, or maybe, you know, try and shut them down. You can go for that too. So this Baxcalibur is going for the Icicle Crash here, and that's going to be easily breaking my sub. So I'm down to 2 health. We're going to go for the Belch here. I've got that massive special attack there of Modest, and it still didn't take it out, and Baxcalibur is going to take me out there with a normal Terra Blast. I was like, what is going on here? So this has definitely got some bulky EV. So Viper was max speed and max special attack, modest nature. Next Pokemon is going to be Staraptor. I'm going to go for the close combat there. Now, Staraptor we've got as a normal and fighting type Pokemon. I definitely feel like it could be that for sure. I mean, even with close combat, this is an interesting set. I have got a close combat on there for the fighting type, but it is pretty cool. So we got close combat, Endure, Endeavor, and Subchew. Rocky Helmet as the item, and I've got max speed and max attack, Jolly Nature. So it's a troll set basically. So Miraidon's going to come in there. They're going to go for the Electro Drift on my Staraptor. I'm going to be living on 1 health. Now, this has Rocky Helmet. I'm going to endure the hit too. The interesting thing about Electro Drift, it's one of the few special moves that actually activates Rocky Helmet, contact move there. So Miraidon is going to have leftovers here. I've outspent and I got the Endeavor off. I was like, oh, I'm going to get the KO. And then they went for Power Gem. Like, why? Why? Anyway, so Staraptor is going to fake there. And unfortunately, Miraidon is going to live there on 1 health. Well, not on 1 health any longer, but I thought I definitely had that. So that's the end of Staraptor. Next Pokemon is Florgs. Now, this always thought this was a grass type Pokemon. Like, when I played Pokemon X and Y for the first time, like, yep, that's a grass type Pokemon. So this is we got Fairy and Grass here. So this is a quick floor set. I've got a Thunder from Down Under, and that's going to take out the Miraidon. So Electro Drift and Thunder, they really wanted to make sure they make good use of that electric terrain. So that's the end of Miraidon. Next Pokemon we got here is Ceruledge. So with the floor set, we got Terra Fairy as well. Terra Grass. And we got Petal Dance, Moonblast, Carmine, and Copycat. Max health and max special attack, modest nature. So I went for a Carmine here. It looked like Ceruledge couldn't do enough damage to me, but then we had a Terra. I'm like, all right, what are they going to do? Are they going to go for a Terra Fire? The ability on this was Flower Veil too, so I could go for Terra Grass and, be immune to status moves and not have my stats lowered and those sort of cool things. So we're going to have a Terra Electric Ceruledge, which is which is pretty interesting there, and that's, there's no way I'm going to be able to live that one. So that is the end of the Flogs there. Did a pretty good effort, but I will admit I didn't expect the Terra Electric. They made some pretty interesting plays. Next Pokemon we got is Dondozo, and of course we've got this as Water Dragon. So Dondozo gets Outrage, and we're going to got the Terra Dragon on top of that. So I've got Soak, Curse, Wave Crash, Unaware as the ability, Person Berry as the item, and I got Max Health and Max Attack out of nature. So we're going to pop that Terra Dragon on Dondozo, and I guess we're going to become a dragon. Look at their wings on the top there. So Dondozo with Outrage is going to do some pretty nice damage here. Here comes the Terra Blast. Me going into a dragon type is going to be great because that's going to resist it, and I'm going to take hardly any damage, and now I can go for a Outrage there on the Scarlet. Like, this should do a lot of damage, and it did, so really, really good damage. Wait, what was the cap? There's a crotch shot. There's like a crotch shot of Scarlet there for some. What were they thinking with that camera angle? Anyway, I'm trying to keep things PG here, but I couldn't help that. Like, it literally zoomed and stayed on there for some reason. So now I'm confused here. Got the Person Berry. That's going to be, getting rid of my confusion, which is always good. And then I can finish off the Scarlet, which is going to be nice. Now they're going to go for a close combat here, and this is really interesting. So they got hardly any damage against me, and they had their defense and special defense drops, and then I went for the Outrage here. So that's going to be enough to take out the Scarlet there. So interesting sets, like close combat, Terra Blast. A bit of an interesting Terra there too. I guess, being a fire type, they'd be weak to ground too. So now we got the Mouse Gunner coming back in. It's a mix set with Play Rough. I do not get fainted, and I'm going to take them out in one shot with Outrage. So that's going to hit really, really hard. Now they've got one more Pokemon left on their side of the field here. Also, what is the trainer's name? Is anyone able to translate for me? I know there's like some people every time they translate it, so I thank you so much for that. I'm slowly trying to learn, but it's difficult, right? So in comes Volcarona. It's going to blow me away with the Hurricane. We've got the Dunsparce, and we've got this as normal Dragon. Now this, I felt this was definitely appropriate. So it actually gets our Dragon Rush, which is really cool. So we're going to go with the Coil and Dragon Rush set. First thing, we're going to go for agility here. Volcarona misses the Fire Blast, which is really, really important. So I didn't take like a disgusting amount of damage. So I got agility, and then I was like, you know what? Let's go for Coil. We'll increase my accuracy, defense, mainly my accuracy and attack. And they're going to go for a Fire Blast this time. So Fire Blast does a good amount of damage there to me, and also burns me. I'm like, no, this is really, really bad. But then I was like, wait, I had a Lumberry as the item on this, so I was sort of like going between different items on the Dunsparce. So Terra-type Dragon, out of all the extra types of these Pokemon, I gave the Terra to them. So now we're going to finish it off with a Dragon Rush, and that is the end of Volcarona. And then they got a Flame Body there right at the end, of course, but that's the end of the battle, so it doesn't really matter. It's kind of curious why that does come up right at the end of the battle. So thank you for the battle, whoever that was. I can't translate your name. And that's kind of interesting. What's those characters? It just looks like a line. That's like a really interesting character. Anyway, let's get on to battle number 2 here. I'm not sure who this trainer is either, but I know they've got an Iron Lee's lead. So first thing here, we're going to go with the Donphan. Donphan I mainly led with most of the time. So this is like an Iron Head flinching set with Terra Steel. So I need to get my speed going here. So I've got max speed, Jolly Nature, and max attack. So now the Iron Leaves are going to set up the electric terrain. So they're going to try and get a boost there. I'm thinking they're probably going to get in their attack unless they've, EV'd it specifically for speed. So they got an attack rise. It's time to go for Iron Head. I was hoping for a flinch here, and they got a Sword Dance off. I'm like, okay, that's good. At least they didn't attack me. I feel like I could definitely take it out from this range here. So I went for the Iron Head. It just lives on the tiniest little bit of health, and now they're going to go for a Psy Blade. I guess the only good thing about running Sturdy on Donphan was I didn't faint there, so I lived on 1 health there, a merchant available, and I'm going to finish him off with a Disrespect Trailblaze, and that's also going to increase my speed at the same time. So at this stage, I'm thinking I could Terra Donphan now, but I've only got 1 health, so I'm probably not going to faint this Pokemon. So I was like, you know what? Let's go for a Fissure on Greninja. There's not a lot I can do. I could go for Trailblaze, but let's be real, it's not going to faint it anyway. So Greninja goes for a Hydro Pump Protein on 1 health. That was really, really risky there. Like, that could have easily missed. So that's the end of Donphan right there. Now, the next Pokemon I'm going to bring in is going to be Flogs. Like, I can go for Petal Dance here. This will be good. I might even go for a Terra Grass. I was like, if it's got Gunk Shot or Ice Beam, it's probably not the best idea. So, turned out the Greninja had the Gunk Shot, and I didn't Terra, which is good. And Greninja is going to be hopping right out of this battle. Well, it's not going to be hopping. It's probably going to be, I'm not sure. They're probably going to carry it out in the stretcher. Next Pokemon is going to be Mousehold here, and they're going to go for a Terra. I was like, all right, well, they're going to use for a Population Boom here. I'm thinking I've got a good idea to use against this if I can't get around it with Flog. But, we'll have to see how much, number one, how much damage I take, and, maybe Quick Claw activate. So here it comes, is the Population Boom here. So obviously this can hit up to 10 times. I'm looking at my health going down like, yeah, I'm not going to live this one. But then it only hits me 4 times. Like, yes, this is really good. So I got the Petal Dance off here. Good damage, that was really, really good damage there. If I went for the Terra Grass, I would have actually taken them out. But I was a little bit worried that I might faint in that situation, so I didn't. Now, the next Pokemon I'm going to bring is going to be Staraptor. So, with the Terra Normal, I'm going to go, the Terra Fighting, of course, I'm going to go for Endure, because I'm like, Rocky Helmet Endure. I'm going to make them faint themselves. So, I went for the Endure there. Not that it really mattered. I felt like they'll probably faint beforehand. So, a couple of rounds of Rocky Helmet on the Population Boom, and that is the end of the Mousehold there. So, excellent stuff. Just in case there's any crazy crits or anything like that. Next Pokemon is going to be Miraidon, another one. They've got their little Hadron engine rolling. I was like, all right, well, I can't really do much here. I'll try and stall out the Electric Terrain with an Endure. Since I used Endure the turn before, it's going to fail, but he would have taken me out regardless there. Here comes the Electro Drift. At least I'm going to get a little bit of Rocky Helmet damage there. That's about it. So that's the end of Staraptor. I'm thinking to myself, I could bring in Dondozo here and go into a Terra Dragon. That was sort of like my counter for Miraidon if I didn't have, Donphan and play it, or I Terra Steeled him. So go for Terra Donphan, not Terra Donphan. I guess they're both kind of thick Pokemon. Terra Dondozo there. I found I went for Terra Dondozo a lot with this team. It actually worked kind of good. Here comes the Thunder from Down Under, and it's going to do 3 damage. So now I can go for an Outrage. This is going to be super effective, and Miraidon gets rolled out like a lounger and rug. That was easy. Now, that's 4 Pokemon down. We got 2 left. Next Pokemon we got is King Toilet. I'm like, well, I'm locked into this, so I got to go for Outrage. There's absolutely nothing I can do here. So I outsped it on the first turn there, and I did hardly any damage, and now they're going to go for a Sword Dance. I'm like, okay, fair enough. This is bad. They're setting up on me easy. Interesting enough, they outsped me this turn, so it's a speed time. Like, all right, they've got 2 Sword Dances up now. They are absolutely stacked. I can't do a lot here apart from Wave Crash. So I got another Outrage off there. I'm confused finally. So Person Berry is going to kick in, and obviously I'm not going to be confused, and then I can pick another move. So I'm going to go for Wave Crash if I live this turn. They went for 3 Sword Dances. You wouldn't read about it. So I'm like, what is going? Like, this is like super overconfident. So I went for the Wave Crash here, and it lived. I'm like, oh, that was so bulky. And now the electricity's gone from the battlefield now. I outsped them on the last turn and took them out. That's what happens when you get too overconfident stat moves, especially like that was a risky play, man, because like we were like a speed tie. Next Pokemon is Clodsire. I was testing the waters here, pardon the pun, to see if it was water absorb or unaware. It's like, okay, it's water absorb, that's fine. I've still got 2 Pokemon left, and there's no way that Dondozo will be able to take out a stalling Clodsire, right? I've got some other Pokemon in the back that might be able to. So I was thinking with Seviper, I'm like, Seviper can't do a lot with Belch and Dank Pulse, but I might be able to see if I can get rid of an item or something like that. So I'm going to get hit there by an Earthquake. I'm not going to faint this turn. I've just got a slither of health left. So I was like, let's go for another Outrage here. I'm sure that Clodsire is going to go for a cover spam stall here, to get rid of Dondozo. And Clodsire just hangs on and it gets a recover off. I'm like, all right, fair enough. I need to do something here just in case. So I noticed that it doesn't have Black Sludge. I'm like, I wonder what item it has. So I don't want to be taken surprised by anything, especially if I've got my Dunsparce there, and I want to try and set up. So I went into my Seviper. I was like, let's go for Switcheroo. I know that Dark Pulse is going to do nothing. Belch is going to do nothing too. So this is really interesting. So I gave the Clodsire my Salic Berry, and the cool thing was I got a Mirror Herb from that. So if I sent him my Dunsparce there, it would have copied my Coil, So that was really, turned out to be a really good play there. So I got the most I could out of Seviper in that matchup. Now we got my last Pokemon here is the Dunsparce. Now I can freely go for a Coil. And I don't have to worry about Clodsire, copying those stats with the Mirror Herb. Mirror Herb's like a really cool item, but, obviously it's situational and stuff like that. So anyway, we got an Acid Spray from the Clodsire, revealing its final move, I believe there. So that's going to drop my special defense. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to play any games here. I have to fake this thing. So I went for the Dragon Rush here. I was going for a flinch. I didn't get one, but at this stage here, I'm just doing too much damage as a Clodsire. I'm outspeeding it, and that is enough to take out the final Clodsire. And that is it for the second battle. Thank you to my opponent once again for the battle there. And really, the Dragon-type Dondozo, truly coming through in that battle. Let's get on to the third battle here. This is a battle against Lychee, and we've got a theme team here as well. Let me know if you can guess what it is. So the first Pokemon is going to be Banette. Now, I've got, of course, my usual Donphan lead here. So at this stage, let's go ahead and go for Iron Head, and the Banette outspeeds you. But it's a speedy Banette, fair enough. Or it might be Choice Scarf, something like that. So it's got the Life Orb. It's like, okay, it's definitely not Choice Scarf. I went for Trailblaze here, so it's max speed. So now with the Trailblaze up, I can outspeed it. So I went for the Iron Head. It lived on 1 health. You wouldn't read about it. And now Banette is going to fire off a Shadow Ball and take out the Donphan. However, the Life Orb is going to fake the Banette. That was crazy. It was like a double KO there. I don't know what was going on there with the damage calculation, but Pokemon were just living on 1 health left, right, and center. Out comes Lady Gaga, Happy Lady, and we're going to bring in the Florgs here. So Florgs can go for a Moonblast. It's I wonder what this is going to use. I was I want to go for Copycat first and see what it's going to use. It's actually a physical set, so it went for Zen Headbutt. So I'm going to go for Zen Headbutt on the Harpy Lady. It must have had Mirror Wall up, So here comes the Zen Headbutt. They're obviously trying to flinch me with a flinching set. I've got a Moonblast up here. Now, Moonblast should do some really good damage. Then I backed it up with another Quick Claw. And, that's going to be easily enough to take out the Espartha. But I can see what they were doing with the Zen Headbutt. So it's like a completely flinching set. I think I did one of them before. Maybe it was like a speed boost one. I don't know. I've done so many variants. Out comes Salamence here, and we are going to have a Terra. So I was like, all right, I can go for Moonblast here, but I kind of knew that I'd probably Terra because you wouldn't, send Salamence into an obvious Moonblast. So we've got Terra Grass here. It's I wonder what this set's going to be. So now the Salamence is going to go for a Focus Energy, increasing its critical hit rate. So I'm all right, well, there's potential 100% crit here. We'll see. So go for Moonblast. Excellent damage there. What I did is I didn't want to use Florgs just yet. I wanted to keep it in the back. So I went into the Viper just to see what move it might be. It might be a Grass move, and it's going to go for an Air Slash. And that was a critical hit right there. So I'm like, okay, this is very scary. It's going to be like a possible flinching set. So they got a Moxie there. So I'm very scared of Air Slash Moxie. It's really meta right now. And I'm going to bring in the Flogs again. So I know what's going on. Air Slash missed here. You wouldn't read about it. And I went for a Copycat. So Copycat's going to copy the last move used in the field, which is Air Slash. And that's going to take out the Salamence. That was a really, really salty miss right there. Because, Salamence would have definitely fainted my Flogs. Now, next Pokemon here we got is the Cerulege. Wait, it's not Cerulege, it's Gallade. I guess they're kind of similar Pokemon when you think about it. So I swapped out my Flogs, and I went into Staraptor. I hope I could get an Endeavor combination, but that was a Sharpness Psycho Cut, 1,000,000%, and Staraptor is going to get dropped in one shot. So it's into Dondozo now. I'm going to go for obviously a Wave Crash or an Outrage here. Psycho Cut is doing Psycho amounts of damage to me, so I went for the Wave Crash here. That is going to be enough to take out the Glade in one shot there, which is good. That was a pretty threatening Pokemon. Next Pokemon we got here is going to be the Scarlet. It's a special set, and we've got a Giga Drain here. So that's the end of the Dondozo. It's not as bulky on that special side. So I've got Florgs left here, and Florgs has actually taken out quite a few Pokemon. So I know that I can eat those Giga Drains pretty nicely. So I went for the Moonblast here. Moonblast would have taken out, but it has a Focus Sash here. So all right, fair enough. I actually got a special attack drop on Meowscarter too, so the next Giga Drain or special attacking move was going to do even less. So I can easily take this out. I just went for a Copycat again, a bit of a disrespect Giga Drain, and I thought, I can get a little bit of healthy back too. So that's another matter of fact. I'm trying to figure out how many Pokemon Florgs has taken out. I've taken out Meowscarter. I've taken out. Wait, no. Dodonzo took out Gallade, Salamence. It's taken out 3 Pokemon so far. I think it took out the Espartha too. Next Pokemon here is going to be the Hydreigon. Last Pokemon, I got a Quick Claw activation right before I obviously would have fainted here. And there's no way that Hydreigon's going to live that. I mean, let's be real here. I think a disarming voice would have taken out. And that's the end of the battle. My Flogs was just like, it was just such a good counter, and I got all the like correct RNG for it. So thank you for the battle there, Lychee, and a really cool team. This is a battle against Omega Ice or Icy or something like that. This is a random battle on the Poker Portal, and we've got a Clodsire lead here. So at this stage, I was like, I'm going to see if I can get this this thing to faint with my Endeavor combination. All I've got is close combat, so I want to sort of bait them into attacking me. I had a feeling they'd probably start setting up Toxic Spikes and Stealth Right like a million times in a row before they even attack me. And I guess they probably had Earthquake too, so I was wondering how they were actually going to be able to hit me. Maybe they had Gunk Shot, maybe they didn't. So I went for the substitute here. The Clodsire couldn't really do too much for me, so it was just setting up the Stealth Rock. So Toxic Spike, Stealth Rock. I'm like, okay, I have to assume it probably has Earthquake, something like that. Now they swapped out the Clodsire. I don't think they had a lot to hit me with, and in comes Quack Quavel. Now, Quack Quavel, I went for sub again just in case they did have an attacking move. Of course, I didn't really want to reveal my Endeavor strategy just straight away. So I went for close combat, good damage there. I got a critical hit. Not that it really mattered all that much there against Quack Quavel. So I'm thinking this Quack Quavel is going to be like a Aqua set, Moxie set, like most of them are. And with this hit there, that's easily going to be able to take me out in the next turn. So I'm thinking I'm going to get Moxie Sweat here. The only way to get around this is to go for Endure. With the Endure strategy, I can do damage to the Quack Quavel. They won't ever expect Rocky Helmet on Star Raptor, and then I can stop their Moxie boost. So here's the first one here. All I really have to do is live 2 turns, and I know that I can live 1 definitely. And let's say, for example, even the next Endure doesn't work. It doesn't matter. I may as well try it because I can get an Endeavor off on the next Pokemon, but it failed there, and we're going to have a double KO. So the Rocky Helmet on the Star Raptor really saved me there, Endure combination. Otherwise, it would have been difficult. I would have had to swap in. I guess I would have had Dondozo there, but that still would have been a bad situation. So next Pokemon is Seviper. I'm going to swap it in. I'm going to absorb those Toxic Spikes too that Clodsire set up earlier. Next Pokemon is Regisalt. Not a bad nickname for Garganacl. So I'm going to take a little bit of Stealth Rock damage there and absorb those Toxic Spikes. Here comes a Terra. So I was like, I wonder what they're going to Terra this into. So I didn't really expect them to Terra against a Seviper, and they're going to go into a Terra Ghost. Now, the only thing I can really think of the reason they went into Terra Ghost here is because of the ability Purifying Soul. So this might, draw out Ghost type moves and they'd be powered down. So it's not a bad sort of strategy there. So they've gone for the Iron Defense. So obviously they've got the typical Iron Defense body press there. And I went for Dark Pulse. I'm like, I'm really happy with the damage that I did to that. So that's a 3-hit KO. So they're going to continue to set up the Iron Defense here. They really did underestimate my Seviper. I guess they thought that I wouldn't be able to get around it. So I went for a couple of Dank Pulse here. On the second one, it was really good. I still got my sub up right. I got a feature. It's like, yes, this is awesome. I can bury Garganacl. That's a great competitive Pokemon to get rid of there. Like, I would have really struggled with that. I would have had to rely on special attackers. And on my team, right, I really had Flogs, and then I had Seviper, and that was about it. They were my only 2 special attackers. So next Pokemon, of course, is this annoying Clodsire. I really couldn't do a lot to this. I'm thinking to myself, I could finish this thing like 100 times in a row. I could. But the problem is, it's going to take like 10 minutes for me to faint this. They've got Leftovers or Black Sludge on top of that. It's just going to be a boring stall fest. So I swapped it out, and I went into another Pokemon, being my Donphan. I'm like, all right, this is where I need to land a fissure right. Now, Clodsire is going to go for Earthquake. I knew that it would have Earthquake, most of them too. That would eventually, beat my Seviper anyway, regardless where I had sub up. I would have had to keep getting, flinches and flinches. So I go for Fissure, really hoping I can just get rid of this boring stall Pokemon. And here comes another Earthquake, so I can take 2 more of them. So I was like, all right, that gives me 4 fissures here. I was adding it up at the start with the damage and stuff. So I've used 3 fissures already, and they've all missed. And I'm going to be going for my last one in. All this time, Clodsire, virtually got all of its health back. And unfortunately, all 4 of my fissures are going to miss here, which is how 1-hit KO moves work. They can be really lucky or, really unlucky with their, poor accuracy. So that's the end of Donphan there. The funny thing is, if I had a normal moveset with Earthquake, I, would have had no trouble. But, that's the challenge, people. We've got to run those fun sets of challenges. So we're going to go into the Dunsparce here. I'm going to set up Agility. I thought this would be a good opportunity here too. So I've got a GLT up. Clodsai's going to go for an Earthquake. I was like, well, you know, I can get around this with Coil pretty easy. So I know that there's a chance this one could have Unaware, but I wasn't really thinking about Clodsai itself. I was thinking for the Pokemon afterwards, because I was quite confident I could get around this with just pure headbutt hacks, right? So now they're going to relay the Toxic Spikes on the field, which is fine. This is going to allow me to get a little bit more free setup. And with Headbutt, I'm hoping I could just, spam it over and over again. So I've got that Coil up, which is really good. Clodsai also has Toxic. So it's got Toxic Spikes, Stealth Rock, and Earthquake. Wow. So very, very interesting set. So my Staraptor completely walled it with Subtune up, so that's why they couldn't do anything. So I had the Lumberry here. Now I'm going to go for the Headbutt. 60% chance of flinch with the Serene Grace. And of course, they're going to land that Toxic again. So I was like, that was really disappointing there, because I'm like, I only need one flinch almost. So here comes the second Headbutt. Almost took it out, and I got a flinch this turn. Like, that'll be right. But anyway, the result in getting rid of the Clodsai was the main thing there. Unfortunately, now my Dunsparce is on borrowed type. Next Pokemon is going to be Iron Valiant. At this stage, I'm like, well, I can't really swap out here, even though they've got their boosted energy and speed. I just got to keep it in. It's not an easy Pokemon to swap into. This was a very, very competitive team as well. Like, I was using memes, of course. So that's the end of the Dunsparce. Now it's time to go into Florges. I'm like, I can live this attack and take it out with Moonblast. That's going to be, that's really my only play here. So here comes the Moonblast. I live that very, very easily. Florges is a very, very underrated Pokemon in my opinion. And Iron Valiant's done. It's not going to live that no way with Max Special Attack. So next Pokemon is going to be King Toilet. And King Toilet is going to be a very, very powerful Pokemon with Supreme Overlord. I got a quick activation. Like, yes, this is really cool. I don't know whether that actually mattered, whether I would have outsped it already, but I'll take, I'll take the Moonblast damage. Here comes Retaliate, and that is going to be the end of Florges there. I wish they kept the old Retaliate background. Like, the animation was cool how it went and sliced, but they need that sort of, it was like a lined background, if you know what I mean. Like, it's made it look so much better. Like, why could that not be included? Anyway, this is my sort of thoughts here. We're going to bring in Dondozo to the King Gambit, so I can see they're like a Retaliate set for sure. So we got Miraidon coming, another Miraidon. Like, people love running this. When Pokemon Home comes out, the Legends are going to be, it's going to be Legends spam, So I'm going to go for the Wave Crash here on the King Gambit. Obviously, they swapped their Miraidon, so it's not going to be very effective. Now, as for the other battles, you got to see, once again, I'm in a position where I absolutely have to go for Terra Dragon on Dondozo. Like, what can I do? All I've got left is a Belch Viper, which is going to get outsped by it anyway. So I absolutely have to go for the Dragon here, and I'm just hoping I can live the Electro Drift on Dondozo. So even with resisted attacks, Miraidon is still very, very powerful with Electro Drift. So here it comes on my Dondozo. I just lived it on 30 health. What an amazing live there. And now I can go for my Outrage with Max Attack. That's going to take out the Miraidon. Excellent stuff there by Dondozo. Man, it really, truly never let me down in most of these battles. Such a good Pokemon. Unfortunately, I'm going to faint here to the Stealth Rock and the Poison. So all that's left now is King Gambit, and that's it. That's the last Pokemon. So now I'm going to go for the Poison and Dark. I survived here. I was like, I don't know whether I might be able to flinch this. However, I think this is a Choice Scarf set. Actually, I had to beat to outspeed me, and that's it. That's it of the battle. Hope you enjoyed it, people. That's the Pseudo Paldea team, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.